Okay, so I wanted to make a video basically just going in a linear fashion from the point that I stopped taking the benzodiazepines, so acute withdrawal, all the way until now, which would be protracted withdrawal in month 9 of cold turkey stopping. So we'll just start from the beginning. So the first symptoms I noticed was just really bad anxiety. Worst probably anxiety I've ever had, as far as just worrying about things in life or situations with people or so on. Just really bad anxiety, kind of more subtle to the point where I thought that I had a reason to be anxious about these situations, only to realize later on that it was very irrational. So that was the first thing that I noticed, was just really bad anxiety and obviously unable to sleep. I had a fever. I was really hot and like cold. I was having like cold sweats, so a fever, really bad anxiety, and insomnia. Yeah, so those would be like the 3 dominant things that I had for, I want to say, the first 3 days. Well, the first day. The second and third day, things got a little weird. That's where I started to just feel like I wasn't in reality anymore. Everything felt different. The way the wind would blow on my skin didn't feel right. It felt abrasive, and I felt like I almost didn't have feeling in my skin, but at the same time, extra feeling. Walking felt kind of weird. I felt like I wasn't in my body. My vision was weird. My hearing was weird. I would get these really intense hot flashes. It was weird. I would just start like profusely sweating. I would go beet red and I'd be so hot, and I would just have to wait for it to pass out. Pass. I'd wait till it to pass over. There you are. So that happened within the 3 days. And then I couldn't eat at all. My stomach just shut off, is how I can explain it. Anytime I would try and eat something, it was as if I had like really like inflamed intestines, if you will, and I could like feel it trying to get through, but it was making it spasm the muscles, like it just wouldn't go through. So like, I don't know, my digestive system completely shut down, if you will. I wasn't using the washroom that I remember. Couldn't eat at all. The hot flashes, intense anxiety. I didn't sleep for about, like, not, like, when I say I didn't sleep, I mean I didn't sleep for 1 minute. Like, my eyes stayed open for probably 5 days straight, I want to say. And that's not uncommon at all. Some people go way longer without not a wink of sleep. So it felt really weird. I remember saying to myself, like, this is what it must be like when you do a really intense methamphetamine, for like a week straight and haven't slept. Like, this is what this must feel like, I was thinking to myself. Talking to people didn't, like, I felt like I couldn't, like, I was somewhere else. Like, everyone was here, but I was somewhere else. That's how I can explain it. So a weekend, that's kind of like what I dealt with, and so now we get to like 7 days in. I started to have more body symptoms. I started to get like this, and keep in mind, I still really can't eat, definitely can't sleep, have the worst anxiety ever. This is when I started to notice more like physical sensations, like my legs would just shake uncontrollably. Like I couldn't walk, they were just tense and shaking like non-stop, and there was nothing I could do about it except for maybe go in a bath, if I could make it there. Warm water would like help calm them down a bit. I had ringing in my ears. I felt like my throat was closing all the time. Oh, I remember that. Okay, the most annoying thing was I had like such a dry throat. It felt like I couldn't even swallow my own saliva, like as if there was cotton balls in my throat. And that lasted for like 5 days, and it was the most annoying thing. I was constantly swallowing like honey and shit, even though it was terrible for me to have that at the time. It was hurting my stomach bad, but like I just couldn't like deal with how dry my throat was. I was gargling salt water, all that kind of stuff. I felt like I was choking and suffocating, that my throat was closing, that my chest was tightening. I was in a constant state of like, I'm dying, like I need to go to the hospital, I think I'm dying, I'm having some kind of respiratory failure. I was really paranoid about having a seizure for a long time. Like, that was all I could think about, was that I might have a seizure. I'm probably going to have a seizure. So I was terrified of that. Then I would also have these random attacks, and so basically everything I've referred to now is still happening at this point. It didn't go away, so this is like, it keeps adding on. So basically it was like, I cold turkey stop, then I get one symptom, another symptom, and they stockpile, and there's like a shitload of things going on at once. So I'd get these random attacks where I would feel like the inside of my, it would start with the inside of my mouth. My inside of my mouth would start like burning. It would be like on fire and like stinging, and then it would start to go all over my face, all over the back of my head, down my back, just my whole body would be like burning and like stinging, like my skin, the inside, I don't even know how to explain it. And I would just have to sit there, and I'd get really hot when it would happen too, and I would just have to sit there till it passed. And it would take about like five minutes in total for it to kind of come and go. Sorry, 1 second. Where was it? Well, I mean, so for some background information, that was just my boss texting me regarding me having to leave early today due to having a really bad panic attack. I got to work and then I just ended up crying in the bathroom for an hour and a half, and I was like, okay, maybe we shouldn't do today. And then finally went home, and she was just getting back to me. That was a long time ago, which of course I've had anxiety about because she hadn't gotten back to me regarding it, but it's all good, in case anyone's wondering. So yeah, the burning incident would happen. I would have the worst. When I finally was able to sleep, it would only be for like 30 minutes at a time, maybe an hour if I was lucky. I only slept till about, like, I never slept well. Like, I only got like a couple hours of sleep every night for the first like 3 months, I want to say. But like I said, when I was starting to finally be able to sleep again, I would get the worst nightmares of my life. Like, I would wake up just in sheer panic. I don't even know how to explain it. Just the worst, to the point where I was scared to sleep, okay? So, like, it was just such a bad situation because I was so exhausted because I had been up for so long, and I was finally getting, like, really intensely tired because I was so tired. The body has to sleep eventually. And for whenever I fall asleep, I'd have these terrible dreams, so I was scared to sleep. So I was scared to stay awake, and I was scared just to sleep, because the dreams were bad, and awake, my reality was scary, and it was just, there was no escape. I can't even explain it. The things I forced myself to do, and like most people, I think, would be hiding in their house, and I should have been doing that, but I just forced myself in the worst situations, and I probably did more damage and stress to myself by doing that. Like, I would still go in like a public place. I remember being on 3rd day of withdrawal after cold turkey stopping. I went to a fucking store and got some essential oils, but like I don't even have a memory of it. I just remember going in there and I just felt like I was like floating and like not even there, just like I'll get these. Probably didn't even say a word. Like, yeah, I didn't leave the house for a long time after that, but stuff I forced myself to do early in withdrawal, thinking that that was even possible. Where was I? So nightmares and stuff like that. Because of the like shaking and my legs were shaking and everything, I got, I guess what people refer to as jelly legs. Just the muscles were so tired. I was so weak. I could, walking up the stairs, the legs didn't work. They didn't work for a bit. Then those were kind of my dominant symptoms, I would say. I started to get like skin crawling and itching, just like a bunch of little things that all kind of relate. like skin crawling and itching only specifically at nighttime. I wouldn't get it during the day, but like I'd be like laying there trying to like get some sleep, and I would just be kept up with this like intense like itching, but it was like burning or stinging kind of itching, like in random places, like all over my back especially, and I just had to scratch it, and like even scratching it didn't relieve it. It was like under my skin, how I can explain it. And then like akathisia, where you want to be still. You're so tired, but there is just some kind of energy running through you, and the only way to cope with it is to like move your body with it. Like you cannot stay still. You need to like just kick your legs around, or you need to like punch the air, or just like just feel yourself, but then nothing relieves it. There's no escape. It's like you're trapped inside your body and you need to break free, like out of it. There's literally no escape, and it's hell. And of course that would hit at nighttime as well. So then like a little background to carry me where I am now. I was a recreational cannabis user before this had happened, and the day that I stopped the Klonopin, I could not smoke weed anymore. And I smoked weed, like I would take bong rips, so I smoked a bong. So it was very psychoactive. And so I just, take a bong rip thinking that maybe it'll like help. And it probably threw me into the worst panic attack of my life. So that day I said goodbye to it for 4 months. So for 4 months I did not consume cannabis, and I had been consuming it daily for about 3 years before that. So that was a coping mechanism, and I mean it went beautifully hand in hand with Klonopin, of course, but oh, it's a squirrel. Sorry, had to give the eyes some squirrel view there for a second. Okay, we're done. So back to the cannabis. I didn't use it for 4 months, and then in month 4 withdrawal, I got really depressed. Oh my god. So it went from having the worst anxiety to just literally the worst depression of my life. Dysphoria, I think, would be the word one would use. I did not enjoy anything. And this sounds like it's so, like, you didn't enjoy anything, whatever. No, but like, everything was painful and terrible. For example, taking one step forward, just the act of walking, if that makes sense. Just telling my right foot, then left foot, right foot, left foot. That's just like, why the fuck am I doing this? There is no point in anything. Like, someone's trying to have a conversation with you, and you're just like, life is meaningless. My life is over. Nothing brings me joy. Everything hurts. I hate everything. I want to die. I was very, 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 very suicidal for a while. And so that's why I tried to reintroduce cannabis. It was a crisis. I had a newfound enjoyment for not using cannabis daily. I wasn't using anything. I wasn't using caffeine, sugar, cannabis, alcohol, like just all those little things that like are socially acceptable to use. I wasn't using anything, so I wasn't depending on anything. It was just me, and like obviously like me wasn't good, but even though me wasn't good, just the fact that I was living with these things I thought I couldn't live without, it was really great. But I got to the point, and I should add, I wasn't not eating sugar for long. I started reintroducing sugar probably about month 2, which was the biggest mistake ever, and I'm not eating sugar currently. But the point is, I reintroduced cannabis because I was really depressed, and it saved my life. Seriously. Okay, so it was really intense, but it reminded me of the first time that I consumed cannabis, and I was able to make it through. And I mean, mind you, like, I'm I'm not encouraging people to do this, but I think it's also a great tool in your self-development. But psilocybin mushrooms, I had done in the past therapeutically, and I just kind of treated the experience like that. You know, I knew it would be over eventually. I knew it wasn't going to kill me. Yeah. So I got through the anxiety, and the thing, I don't know, like if you've smoked cannabis, for me, once you smoke it a few times, you kind of just get used to the THC's psychoactivity, so then you can be calm in that situation, and then it kind of turns into a tool to actually help calm you. You know what I mean? It's psychedelic. You tell it what to do in a way, right? It doesn't just, you know, have a set experience every time you consume it for every single person the same way. It's, you know, it's just how it is. So it started to become a really helpful tool for me, and, you know, guess what? I started sleeping amazingly. So I was finally able to get some full nights of sleep. My eating had never been better. Mind you, I was eating shitty food, which I later paid for. And I went through a period of about a month or two where I was doing pretty good. I was. I had, I had panic attacks, some depression, but, I would smoke weed about it. Once again, I was smoking weed. And then I started to get really sick again. But this time it wasn't my mind, it was it was my mind a bit, but then I also had periods of, so I was not depressed all the time anymore, or just depressed and anxious all the time. I'd actually have periods of, mania, extreme, up, very, 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 very optimistic and positive. I enjoyed it personally, but it was a little much for some people, to be honest. That's just how it goes, but if anyone's been manic. But, so that would happen, but unfortunately I'd have a bit of a crash after, and a little bit of depression, and maybe some anxiety, but, I wasn't depressed all the time, I wasn't anxious all the time. There was also times where I just felt normal and was calm, and I could function in life, and I went back to work in February, around the time I started consuming cannabis again, actually right before I went back to work, which is helpful, because if I wouldn't have done that, I don't think I would have been able to return to work. I probably would have went and been like, oh, I can't do this, but cannabis really helped me do that. But then, like I said, I got really sick a few months later, so I got really sick in about May is when it started, so March, April, May, so about 3 months later, I started having digestive problems again, so I couldn't eat, I was nauseated, everything like that, and I was consuming cannabis, but I still couldn't eat, so it was, I figured it was, withdrawal acting up, which it was, but, they would call it gastritis, they would call that the condition, but I know it's influenced from benzodiazepine withdrawal, whether it be an actual, body effect or my anxiety causing gastritis, which it does, and I've had it in the past, actually, so who knows, it could just be the stress of being in withdrawal that caused me to have another acute gastritis episode, but once it happened, I stopped eating, and I never really put it together that that's what it was at the time, so it went on till July until I finally had a medical emergency that led me to eventually figure out what it was. So I started having the eating problems again, and I started getting really bad migraines. And then along with the migraines, I would get the worst tightness in my, back of my head, the base of my skull, and then just, my scalp. It would feel like I was having, little mini spasms. I don't know if it's, nerve pain or what it would be. But I had that pretty much constant from May till about now. It's finally getting a little bit better. But I have a whole new set of problems to deal with, which I'll get into. And I guess I should touch more on, some mental situations that I was in, too. Because I'm kind of just focusing on, my physical symptoms here. But, throughout the withdrawal, I lost friends. I lost the relationships that I thought I had with family. And it's kind of a blessing in disguise, because, yes, I disconnected from a lot of people, But I learned through this experience that my connection to those people may have been actually harming me a little bit. Benzodiazepine withdrawal caused me to not stick up or stand up for myself more, but to really consciously put what's best for me as a priority, if that makes sense. Just some unhealthy, toxic relationships that I kept around thinking that I needed them when I really didn't. Yeah. And just with family members, you know how it is. There's just certain family members that they might play a dominating role in your life, and you just kind of reach a point in life where you realize, hey, this is my life, I'm living for me. So benzodiazepine withdrawal kind of allowed me to be in such a state that I really saw things for what they were. I did have some delusional thinking along the way, you know, it wasn't all perfect, but as much as I lost from the mental experience of this, I also gained. And when you're in such a state of anxiety and there's nothing you can turn to bring it down, you know, there's no pill, there's nothing you can do, there's no person, you know what I mean? Like, you really learn how to take control of your body and use the power of your mind to calm it in a way that you didn't think was possible. And I'm telling you, everyone has this ability. Everyone. And I don't blame anyone for turning to a pill instead. Of course, you don't realize you have this ability. I mean, some people do, the lucky ones, but you don't realize you have this ability until you absolutely have to put it into action. So that's why I say I'm mentally improving now. Probably not as far as withdrawal, but maybe, because maybe if I was still suffering, I wouldn't have this ability to. I've learned a lot. You know, I've had a lot of delusions, I've had a lot of, you know, mistakes, I've had a lot of rage for no reason, you know, anxiety, worrying for no reason, really sad, depressed for no reason. But, you know, I was also able to not suppress when those real emotions came and address them, and I don't hate it. I hate this. I mean, I'll get into my physical symptoms now and how much I hate it, but mentally, I'm getting better. I am. Getting better, that's for sure. Better than before benzos, I want to say. Not in moments, like, fuck. Today I already had 3 breakdowns, but I mean, like, when I'm calm, who I am is different in a better way. Enough about that. So, examples of delusions. Everyone hates me. No one believes me. My own mother's trying to kill me. Yeah, that was a fun one. Yeah, so let's just fast forward to, like, my current situation, how it all began. It began with me having a ruptured ovarian cyst, going to the hospital, not knowing that's what it was. Okay, I'm gonna save this for another video. Once again, the whole hospital incident, I'm just getting thinking about it. They treat you like fucking shit. So I went to the hospital for the ruptured ovarian cyst, and that was the most painful thing I've personally experienced. Not to mention they made me have a CT scan, a fucking, don't mind my cracking throat, by the way, a little dry right now, but then we have a CT scan, x-rays, blood work, urine work. They entered me I don't know how many fucking times, gynecologist. Yeah, let's just add this in. How unprofessional, okay? So they gave me morphine, which later caused me problems because I'm a withdrawal, of course, but while I'm on the morphine, before the gynecologist does her inspection, she gets real close to my face and she goes, "Don't worry, this isn't my first time." What the fuck, right? Yeah, I know. I'll just leave that there. Regardless, they didn't find anything wrong except for ruptured ovarian cyst, but the ruptured ovarian cyst caused extreme muscle spasms in my stomach muscles, and I don't know if it's what they gave me. They gave me morphine, they gave me some kind of, oh yeah, fuck this shit. This probably has something to do with why I'm feeling like shit. I had a high white blood cell count because the ruptured ovarian cyst, internal bleeding, being a benzodiazepine withdrawal, so many different things can cause that, but they just assumed that it was some kind of infection I must have, even though I had no evidence of it in my blood, so they gave me a IV antibiotic. So I don't know what the fuck did it. I don't know if it's just withdrawal that came in this wave, something they gave me in the hospital, whether that be the antibiotic or the morphine. But since I've left the hospital, and this was 3 weeks ago now, so for 3 weeks now, I have barely been able to walk most days. I have extreme muscle tightness and spasming, and okay, so the ruptured ovarian cyst happened. That's fine now, but the muscles, because of that event, are constantly tight and spasming. I cannot hold my urine for long. It gives me extreme pain if I have any in me. Passing urine gives me extreme. Okay, I've been checked out. I don't have anything wrong with me. This is muscular, by the way. But I know if you're in Benzodiazepine, I know you understand. So walking is hard. I can't drive, and then also my entire back and chest and ribs, I've had the most excruciating spasms where I think that I'm having a heart attack. I scream. There's no escape. For 3 weeks straight, I've been in chronic back, neck, head, shoulder, ribs, chest, bladder, abdominal, leg. Like, my muscles are completely fucked right now. I don't know what is happening to me, and I refuse to go to the hospital. I refuse to see, I'm going to be seeing my doctor, but I'm not even going to ask for him to even look into this. I'm looking to go on disability, to be honest. That's why I'm seeing him, because there's no way that I can continue to work like this. I've been trying to work for 6 months. I went back to work on month 3 of a cold turkey withdrawal, which is ridiculous. I don't know why I thought that was possible. I've been working for 6 months, barely working. I barely make it in half the time. I can barely afford to support myself at this point. I don't have any family that can help me financially. I have a wonderful partner who's making my life possible right now, to be honest, and I will forever be in debt to his kindness and compassion and empathy and unconditional love. I wouldn't be here without him, and for anyone who doesn't have support, I can't imagine. And that's why it's really important for people to be aware of this, so that one of the most important things is you have support while going through this. I can't imagine doing this alone. I would have killed myself already, or I would have just started taking the medication again until I had to kill myself, and it wasn't working when I had enough tolerance. Jesus Christ. But where am I even going with this? I've been in so much pain, I can't do anything, and I need to literally go on I'm 23 years old, and I'm going on disability. What is that about? I have to do it, though. I hope it's not something that's long. I hope it's no longer than 6 months or a year. I hope I get out of this, but you know how it is. It's really hard for me to believe right now that anything's gonna change. I felt this way for 3 weeks. I know it's only 3 weeks, but I feel like I'm never not gonna feel this way now. I feel like I'm always gonna be in pain. I'm never gonna be able to function. I'm never gonna be able to work. I'm terrified. I am terrified, and I won't go to the hospital, and I know they won't even find anything. It's all just muscle spasming, but it's extremely painful. And that's my main problem right now. If I didn't have all this muscle spasming and tightness, I would probably be having pretty normal days. Not even kidding. I'm starting to eat better now because I don't like that I'm taking it, but they gave me omeprazole, which is just a proton pump inhibitor. It has something to do with acid, and I don't plan on staying it longer than a month. I'm just doing it so that I'm able to eat during this period, and then I've been adjusting my diet to foods that won't irritate my stomach at all. So all I eat is, I won't eat sugar, I won't eat, I already didn't eat meat, but I won't eat any kind of wheat, or even I'm trying to stay away from rice. Bothers me. So basically, I live off of I make soup a lot. So today I made a low sodium vegetable broth with beets, carrots, kale, and